It's my distinct honor to welcome you all to PMI Kerala Chapter's Construction Forum webinar series number 3. Today, we are privileged to host two distinguished speakers who will share insights on pivotal aspects of project management. As Johnson sir said, PMI Kerala Chapter is one of the pioneer in setting up innovative programs like academic outreach activity, which is a global event, global program nowadays. Then we are one of the pioneer in setting up engineering and construction forum. And we are also one of the very few chapters around the world to contribute umpty number of hours into social service and United Nations goals. So having said that, we have larger plans to expand the Engineering and Construction Forum in the upcoming years. As we all know, in today's fast-paced environment, right, stakeholders demand accelerated execution strategies. So the traditional method may not be a good option to meet all these expectations. So therefore, it is imperative to embrace new techniques that enable us to execute projects within budget and ahead of schedule. So as we all know, continuous learning and adaptation are the key to staying relevant and effective. And PMI Kerala is helping all its members and member community on this aspect. So today we'll be discussing about two topics. The experts are here. As you all know, scope management stands as the cornerstone of a project, whichever industry it is. So we will be discussing about that today. So under our new initiative of the Engineering and Construction Forum of PMI Kerala chapter, we believe that there will be ample opportunities to learn, interact with project teams from diversified background, diversified sectors, exchanging ideas and share knowledge and experience. Friends, this platform is designed to foster collaboration and drive excellence in professionalism. So we expect all of you to, join and interact and learn something new. We are also excited to announce that we will be conducting PMI Construction Professional Certification, PMI-SCP, very soon. So this certification, as you all know, will prepare you all to manage construction projects. You will be able to lead and manage contracts, equipping yourself to navigate challenges and stay relevant in the ever-evolving world. So if you are interested, please contact us for more details. So today in our first session, Staying Productive in a Distracted World, will be led by Sesha Sai, an esteemed executive coach. I hope he will provide strategies to maintain focus, and enhance productivity in the midst of distractions that we face daily. So following that, our own member and the man behind this construction forum initiative, management consultant, Mr. Tony, will present Unlocking Success, Scope and Change Management. And as you all know, his expertise will guide us through effective methods to manage project scope and navigate complexities. So I encourage you all to actively participate in this event, engage with our speakers, and take most of the insight shared today. Together, let us continue to strive for excellence in the project management and drive success for our endeavors. Thank you, and let's look forward for an enlightening and productive webinar. On behalf of the Board of Directors and Extended Board of Directors, I would like to welcome you all again for this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President, for the inspirational words and also clarifying how we have launched the Engineering and Construction Forum for the connecting with the industry and to be part of the global partners who are associating with the Project Management Institute. As mentioned by our president, today we are privileged to have a veteran leader with us today, a corporate, a real estate professional with a 30+ years of experience in project management, business management, and commercial real estate across India. Most recently, he served as the managing director of Savills, Hyderabad, and he was driving the business growth in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Sesha excels in building high-performance teams, fostering strategic partnership, and advocating for clients. He served in multiple organizations at senior management level like DGIS, PMO, JLL, and more. An engineer by profession with MBA and a certified project management professional, and also holding a business excellence from UC Berkeley. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome our keynote speaker, Sesha for this evening. Thank you, sir. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, John, Samuel, and PMI Kerala chapter for giving me this opportunity. First, before I get into, I'll make small correction. Probably I was the past board member in PMI Bangalore chapter. That is a previous secretary and treasurer. I moved to Hyderabad since last 4-5 years. So though I'm a volunteer of PMI, not actively in Bangalore chapter. So just to be sure, technically correct. And thank you for giving this opportunity to present what I have to share. I left corporate life 6 months back after serving 30 years in the various organizations across India to pursue my passions. And one of the key passion and thing that I realized is that when we work in the construction industry, especially I have worked in the construction industry, and when I interact with people, they are all burnt out. They're all suffering from work-life. Many of the people who suffer from work-life balance. It is true across various industries, especially in the bigger cities when you migrate and unlivable cities. But otherwise also, even if you work from home, people have been having this know how to balance work and life. So, and how to manage themselves. So this attracted my attention, and I wanted to work with people to make them more fulfilling life. And what better way than actually mentoring and coaching people would be to give back as my second career in my life, and also live my passion. That's what I have been doing. And today I'll share some of my learnings over the years. I am constantly learning and implementing whatever I share. We are a part of the ecosystem where we are all getting distracted, and we are all struggling with balancing multiple demands in our life. More technology, it's becoming more work for everyone. It is not that we are able to reduce number of work hours by having a better technology. So essentially, it's always on culture, right? So allow me to indulge in what I have to share. It will be very short presentation that I made. I thought in the virtual thing, if you have a presentation, it is better, though I would have otherwise spoken to you impromptu. I hope you can see my screen. Just please help me. I can, okay, just a minute. I will. Yes, please. Yeah. I'll share my screen a minute. I think it is okay. You can see my screen? Yeah. So why I say this productivity is the only way I believe that we can improve our quality of life. Because either you can do more with available resources, or we can do whatever we are doing with a limited effort that we do. But when we are having both the amount of work you want to do and also there is a lack of time, that is when all the so-called progress is actually making us go backwards. The quality of life is suffering and we are not able to make a real progress in our life. So, and this always on culture and the more of a technology driven our work is causing more and more distractions. If you see, this is across the generations and across the industries is becoming more and more normal. It's been normalized, in fact, to not to have focus or to have this kind of lack of productivity. That's why we end up working 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours also. I wanted to share with you 5 mantras today. I'll dig little deep once I set the context for you. And this will be these 5 mantras. I will be, what I have learned. Daily I implement and I learn and I practice and I refine my own craft. So I wanted to share with you what I am doing on day-to-day basis, and I hope that it will help you. Okay. So this 8 second, if you heard, is the research Microsoft has done with the amount of attention span people are having. In fact, it is said, and jokingly, it is less than even the golden fish. This much 9 second is that goldfish has got the attention span, and we human beings have got 8 seconds. That is why the more reels are becoming popular and reel length is becoming shorter. 15 seconds. If you go to social media experts, they say first 3 seconds is when one makes a decision whether to watch that or swipe it up. So that is 1 second, 3 seconds have become our, if someone says it's a 10 minutes video, we can't watch. Other people who watch at a 2x speed, 1.5x speed, you hardly get anything out of message. So this is what we are having, too much content, too much attention, too many distractions. So this is, today we don't have lack of time. It is what we are suffering from actually is the lack of focus. Our focus, our attention is the bigger currency or asset that we are losing than the time. Okay, time is same across everybody and across generations. So if you, once you get the awareness, what we tell is the root of the change is comes from the awareness. So once you get the awareness that our attention, our focus is what actually everyone is vying for, your Facebooks, Instagrams, YouTubes, everybody is looking for your attention, not necessarily your time. How much attention you give, how much you spend, that translates probably into a thing. So some of this is, one we spoke about attention span. Second, email overload. We are getting so many emails, 100, 200. If I can't make it very interactive because there is a very interesting session coming, but you can keep putting in your chat box how many emails you get in a day. Okay, see, and then the multitasking has been promoted as a panacea for many things, and it has been normalized. So we multitask thinking this is the better way to increase our productivity. Actually, it is wrong. When you multitask, our productivity goes down. Now, my smartphone, it is, I specifically mentioned it as an addiction because if you see last week, Europe has bringing in regulations. They are equating smartphone to your smoking and drugs. That is the level of, and they if some people cannot give smartphones to below certain age because the phones have become so addictive. And UK has got a department of loneliness. Why? Because people are becoming addicted to screens, and this is causing us a lot of other health issues. And like meetings have been one of the other big challenge we are all facing. Unproductive meetings, people sit, they don't know how to say no, and so they sit and they lose a lot of time. Obviously, social media another one, and notifications. Now in my phone, I get notifications only for 2 apps, one for my calendar and second for my Get app. That's all. No other apps give because notifications were coming so much, and you are always getting distracted. Instant messaging, WhatsApp, and other Slack, whatever you use. So essentially, what's happening everywhere? This always on. If you are not on, People will hound you. Okay, I sent you message 15 minutes, you did not reply. That is the level of 5 minutes. People have this expectation getting built up. The moment you see double blue tick, you have to respond. So this whole thing is causing us a lot of overwhelm. It's okay. If anybody is not having these problems, please put N in the chat box. I will catch up with you separately later as well. So what's happening? Stress is coming, lifestyle diseases are coming, the relationships are spoiling, people are getting burnout, and the mental loneliness and other relationship issues. And overall, people are not satisfied with their jobs or the work that they are doing or with the life that they are living. So with this, we are not able to spend our work in a creative way or build a meaningful relationships. All this is leading to essentially productivity. Because a society, a human being, a society, a country will grow only the productivity goes up. Per person, what is our, while averages are not really good, because the rich and poor divide, that's a different topic. But essentially, if we at a society level, individual level, only when our productivity goes up, that means the value we are giving to society is going up. Your actually ability to earn more money goes up. So productivity is the key to everything that good can happen to you or to society or to the country. So that is when we are losing all our productivity to all these apps and this media and smartphones. What is the way out? Like I mentioned, I have first 5 mantra. First is the declutter. Okay. Once we are understand that our lives are getting cluttered with so many things coming in, everywhere your website you go, they ask for email and then they start bombarding with emails, our phone calls and the spam and other things happening. So how to declutter? Decluttering can happen at 3 levels. First is your mind declutter. Journaling, writing down, because our mind can only hold 3 things at a time, So anything that is in your mind, always keep a notebook or keep a paper and pencil in your pen in your pocket. Whatever comes to your mind, you keep writing down. Okay, somebody you have to call, don't keep remembering, just write. If some work you have to do, you keep writing. Or every day make a habit of journaling so that your mind becomes decluttered. And the second is place that you do. Where you live, where you work, it has to be clutter free. It has to be spartan clean. Remove all the junk, throw it away. That energy sunk, that all that it is attracting, all that getting stuck energy will keep flowing. And third is your digital declutter. When you do digital declutter, which means your notifications, your junk email, all the email notifications, unnecessary apps, unnecessary WhatsApp groups, or whichever maybe is causing you getting stuck, just clear up. Keep life simple. Keep few things what is essential. Remaining, let it be there in the background. You don't have to keep it in the front. Now phones have become so smart. You can do different ways to organize your thing. Primarily phone, I would say, but it could be if you are a desktop person mostly working in the computer, you can declutter and take care of that as well. So decluttering your life from all these things is the first step. There is a different levels of declutter you can do, but that could be at a next stage. But these are 3 simple things. If you ask me what you can do, you can declutter and go ahead. Second is about prioritization, because for us, we lost that sensitivity of what is important, what is urgent. We are getting stuck with everything as an urgent. Everything is immediately we have to take care. So the bigger things are going behind. So if you might remember this big jar and small jar story, went around in the WhatsApp universities as well. If you start filling all small things, your phone calls, your this small errand work, that's chat with a friend or a colleague, your bigger report, your bigger work has to be done, will get behind. So first, how you get that prioritization in your life, what is important and what is need to be done, if it may not be urgent, because many times this Eisenhower matrix is a very beautiful concept, and if you actually understand this, your life will be sorted in terms of prioritization. What it says, whatever is urgent and not important should be delegated. This is where we spend a lot of our time doing. Okay, either phone calls, ordering, this, that. You can, whatever you can do, automate, you can delegate, rest of the things only, set the boundaries. And second, delete whatever is not urgent, not important, just delete, because if they're not adding value, they are actually what is actually your sand, that you know what we say. And when it's not urgent, not but important but not urgent, things actually getting piled up. You may wanted to maybe write an article, or you wanted to create one business plan, or some kind of a initiation in your office, or maybe in your personal life you want to learn something. Those are important for you but not urgent. So how to realize what is important, what is urgent, and categorizing your work and doing. See, urgent and important, obviously you have to do immediately or whenever you know it needs to be done. But that is anyway you will happen. Urgent things will happen. Not urgent, but important is where you need to do. I'll give one tip. Any day, when you get up in the morning or previous night, write 3 top things that you know, important things that you want to handle for the day. And do those 3 things first. You keep in your mind. You can put it in a small card, you can put it in your phone, but write preferably, because when you write, your very what you call subtle thoughts will come into reality in the paper. So writing is more powerful. But identify 3 things per day, and only 3 things, important things, and focus on them. Everything else can wait, but these are the 3 things I want to do every day. If you are able to do, if not 3, you can write only 2. It could be only 1 if it is a bigger task. But once you identify your bigger result area and you want to do, your life will start changing. So every day I write 3 things. Sometimes I can complete 3, sometimes I do at least 2. But I know that these are the 3 things that were most important for me. And usually these things are very bigger ones. Maybe it will take half an hour, 1 hour to do, and I complete that. Those are the things which otherwise not urgent but important. Okay. And to do them, what you need to learn is how to do a deep work. There is a nice book by Carl Newport. You can Google search, you can find in Amazon this book by the same name, Deep Work. But you may not require to even read. I'll give you a very simple hack. This is called Pomodoro technique, where you first switch off all the distractions. You block out 2 hours time. Minimum 2 hours is required. You know why? When we get any attention from one matter to other, if we go, the cost of switching takes 20 minutes to come back into the zone. That is when you are actually you are in the zone to do a good work, and that is when you can create a valuable work. Okay, only when you create a value, your productivity goes up. So identify 2 hours of block of time. That is very important. You can do it 3 times a week, ideally every day. But if you are initially, or you have some other, you're not used to, do 3 hours, 3 times a week minimum. Alternate day you can do, and then that time your distractions are all kept aside. You will sit in a place where people can't disturb you. Ideally, if you have a luxury, you can take it early in the morning when your energy is high, whichever the way. If you are a morning person, usually you can do it. And said, either you can do 25 minutes, 5 minutes break, or 50 minutes and 10 minutes break. Okay. Initially, I used to do 25 minutes and 5 minutes break. When you take a break, you don't look at the phone, you don't do anything, take a bio break, drink some water, stretch yourself, come back and start working. Don't get zoned out. Don't do anything. And take bigger tasks, 1 of 2 or 3 of your priorities, and work on them. This deep work is a game changer. Okay. Once you are able to focus on 1 or 2 tasks for longer duration of time, your creative juices will come out and you can complete. Then people start wondering how you are able to do this. It could be even reading a book you wanted to read and develop something, or it may be writing a report. Construction folks have to do a lot of tracking of things, your material tracking or procurement tracking, or reviewing your tender documents, and that is when you can do. You may say that I can't give 2 hours without distraction, so many people are calling. That is when you set a boundaries to the others. When you set the boundaries and you tell the people, this period I am not available, I am doing important work, and this it could be done when it based on your circumstances of life. You can create when you do that, whether it's in the morning, whether you do it in the evening, whether you do it in the afternoon, or maybe night. Okay. Sometimes I used to do early morning, get up at 5 o'clock and do up to 7, but it may not work for everyone every time. So it is your choice. You can do evening 7 to 8, 9. It could be afternoon 1 to 3. When you can actually set boundaries and expect to be honored as if your life depends on that. When that time your phone is no disturbance mode, you tell people that I am not available, and even your desk is also, you clear all the distractions. You keep all the apps closed, all the maybe computer, whatever is there, and work on one thing. Work on one thing, that is called monotasking during this focus period, and you start magic happening. So the key is, when you have these tactics, only thing you got to be careful and you see is how you manage your energy, because without your high energy you cannot do. It could be either first is what we call, you tune yourself with the circadian rhythm, okay, and whatever the rhythm that it works for you, you identify when is your high energy. Many people are morning people, some people could be afternoon energy, high energy, some people could be evening very high energy. Identify your high energy zone and practice your deep work, your creative time, that time. And obviously some bit of your fixed physical exercise or yoga, whatever works for you. And third is your rest. Without rest and relaxation, you will not have the energy recharge happening. Many times we underestimate how important the rest and relaxation. Not only rest and relaxation, even for the mind not to have anything coming, it needs time to process. If you had a meeting, back-to-back meetings, mind is always in the consumption zone. It doesn't get a time to contemplate. So you need to give mind, body both time to relax, recharge, and process what it is going through. So that is when your mental, physical energies will be high, and that is when you can create more work. This awareness and the practice steadily you do. There are many practices to do this. Maybe when we get an opportunity, we speak long. Otherwise, you can research on the online or speak to people who you know. They will give you more ideas. So to just sum up, recap the 5 mantras: declutter, digital, physical, mind, prioritization, Eisenhower matrix, deep work, do a Pomodoro technique with at least 2 hours of deep work, and setting your boundaries around that, especially when you do, and your commitments, you keep it to what you can do, and understanding what is your body energy flows. So these things will actually change your game. And because deep work is the only way you can have your cognitive limits are enhanced, and you create a value which is uncopyable, because you are unique. When you are unique, what you can do is something that no world needs, nobody else can do. That's all for me. I hope you enjoyed. It helps you, professionals. Construction industry needs all this and more. And what Tony and team PMI chapter is doing is amazing. Thank you for this. I appreciate. And with this, I commit this speech to you. Thank you. Johnson, over to you.
Thank you, Sesha, for shedding the light, how to stay focused, which is very timely reminder for all of us in whatever we do, whether it is in your personal arena or in your professional life. Focusing, staying with high energy. Well, we have a lot of takeaway tips from you. Thank you so much for joining us and reminding ourselves so that how we can be as vibrant and powerful in our business, in whatever we do. Thank you, sir, for joining and taking the time.
My pleasure.
PMI Kerala chapter appreciates your support and contribution. Now, we're coming to the segment which you all were anxiously waiting. Let me just share my screen. When it comes to learn, we always look for a good teacher. And we have one of that with us today. It is a proud moment for me to introduce our trainer for today. Tony Jacob is an accomplished lean project management consultant in the construction industry over 2 decades of experience, with exemplifies dedication and skill. He is distinguished by his global credentials in lean construction and project management from Lean Construction Institute and Project Management Institute. Tony passionately provides management consulting services across Asia and the Middle East, committed to transforming the construction project delivery system. He supports and partners with organizations in various sectors. He is authorized to train for the prestigious PMI-SCP and CM Lean certification courses by PMI and AGC. Tony is devoted to empowering others in the industry, which you have been listening in the last couple of sessions, and today is no exception. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all warmly welcome Tony Jacob to shed the light on scope and change management. Tony, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. Let me share the presentations. So meanwhile, thank you very much, PMI Kerala chapter, and all those who are joining today. So it's a great honor, and it's my privilege to be here in this forum and then addressing all of you. Let me also say a very special thanks to Sesha for accepting our invite and coming. I know Sesha for a quite long time in the PMI circle. We both met in some of the leadership events. I believe the first time I was part of the Hyderabad chapter and he was from Bangalore. And we found we both are from construction industry and we started interacting. And we have done a lot of networking and educational events for the PMI members. And Bangalore chapter ENC forum is one of the greatest platform which he developed, as he mentioned. And I'm sure his coaching skills is going to help a lot of people. And definitely, you know, as a chapter ENC also, we can also take help from him to get coached and, you know, advance in this particular area. So thank you very much. So coming to today's topic, as you all know, this is a series of webinar we are doing in line with the PMI-SCP. So we are working in a certain traditional way to manage our construction project. So if you really want to change, you know, you want to become a game changer in managing the construction project, we definitely have to start focusing the core of everything, which is nothing but the scope management. So unless until we established the new best practices and new tools and technology to supplement it, we are not going to make these changes in the construction industry. So I would like to take you through the PMI-SCP specific course on this scope and change management. But you know, within the limitation, I'll be giving only the overview like last 2 times. So as you all are aware, those who are not been part of the previous webinars, I just want to show only a couple of slides first to get an idea about what we are going to talk and what is it related to the PMI-SCP. The PMI-SCP having 4 fundamental courses to write the exams. And what we have done is last time we covered the project communication management and the construction interface management. And today we are going to talk about the scope and change management. So like every time, I again promise we will be having another webinar as well, talking about the contract and risk management shortly. So stay tuned for that. And if shortly, you know, very soon we are going to announce, as Harikutan mentioned, the PMI-SCP training program as well. So if someone interested, we already have the names of those who have shared their interest. So now, again, by end of this webinar, we'll be showing that particular QR code for you to express your interest to be part of a PMI Kerala chapters, PMI-SCP training program. And we are more than happy to support you in your journey to become a construction professional certified by the PMI. So this is not the end. Once you get the PMI-SCP certification, there are 3 more courses are there in the PMI, which is developed in line with the construction industry requirements about the performance management, the technology and innovation, and the execution planning, which are the really advanced program, I will say that. So those are having a more than 5 years experience can definitely look at the PMI-CP first and then get into the advanced program as well. So you will get a PMI-SCP certification, Senior Construction Professional certification. And this 5 to 25, 30, there is no limit, upper limit for it. So it's always good to learn and refine yourself in the latest industrial improvement, what is happening. So today, I'm just going to talk about the scope and construction management, scope and the change management, I'm sorry. So like every PMI courses, the PMI-CP is developed based on the three broad knowledge base. One is the PMBOK by the Project Management Institute, and second is the lean construction methodologies and the tools and techniques developed over a period by Lean Construction Institute. And the third is the CII research and tools, which is mostly the data-oriented approach, which is very less in construction industry to have that data-oriented approach. So in this particular course, also you're going to see all the three parameters in a very equivalent manner. It is being segregated and being presented to the students and the participants of a PMI-CP certification program. So to give you a large or the very important picture of why a scope management is required, I want to take you through one of the survey which is conducted by PMI in 2020, spreading out almost 2,000 built environment professionals. There are three major pain points have been identified during this. One is the project delay, the second is the project scope creep, and the third is the exceeding the timeline beyond the construction, what we are seeing. So if you look at the data which has come from there, it's almost a 72% feel the project delay. They are experiencing the project delay. It doesn't mean that the end point will be changing, but they are experiencing the delay in each and every activities. And 70% of the people are feeling the scope creep. It's not the scope change. I'm going to tell about the scope creep and scope change in after some time. The scope creep is a more painful situation where any scope creep, it's not going to pay you. It's not going to give you more time. It's going to just increase your burden in the project system itself. So ultimately what is happening is the 40% of the projects are really exceeding the timeline. Now, there are many studies which we are seeing from a different part of the world. Even I've seen some studies saying that 98% of the projects are delayed, than the original timeline. So these are some reasonably good survey, I will say that. But the point what we need to take from here is this is how the PMI has been developed, the PMI-CP. So they have gone through the various studies and researches and identified the pain points. And we can see that the necessity or importance of having established a very good scope statement and scope management in the beginning of a project to ensuring that the project is properly being maintained and handed over in a criteria what is being defined in the beginning of a project. So the scope management comes a very important role here. And by definition, those who are familiar to the PMBOK and to the project management body of knowledge, you can relate and you can understand. It is nothing but it's talking about all the work what is required and the only work what is required to complete a project in a successful manner. So that is what the scope management will be looking for. So in a construction context, to a little more to elaborate and to explain it, in the scope management, we are going to clearly define the project boundaries, that definitely including the deliverables and what is not included, the battery limits and everything. And this particular scope statement or the information what we are having to what to deliver and what not to deliver should help us to establish a proper project timeline budget, and we should have planned sufficient resources, and we should be in a position to do the risk analysis and the perfect quality management what is required to deliver that scope to the end customer. Now, once we are able to establish this whole what we talked, we can say that we have a very good scope management system. I want to connect to the three words which are very familiar in the construction industry or any project for that matter: the scope, time, and the cost. So in a construction, we may call it as a budget, or we call it as a cost itself sometimes, and we call the schedule or a time. And scope is something which is not really being stabilized in the construction industry. Now, there are terms which we used earlier in the triple constraints, is saying that for a fixed scope, the time and the cost are can be regularized or in a standardized. So if a scope is changing, definitely the cost and the time is going to change it. Now there are terms which you have seen earlier, or which we coming in our common language, is the quality. Now, there was a huge emphasis on a specific time of a project to see that, okay, the quality need to be established. There is another specific time we say that the safety need to be established. Now, there is a very common talk about the sustainability. And now we can see that the latest industrial requirement, even a continuous improvement is a matter of a project delivery criteria. So I'm putting all these things as a project excellence criteria. So I'll slightly, redefining or putting in this way. You need to have a very clear understanding about the project excellence criteria, what your client and the customer is looking at. In line with the scope need to be clearly defined. That is when we should be in a position to have established a clear budget and time for our project, which we can honor it on the processes. Why I'm saying this is many projects, what I've seen is different clients will have a different expectation related to the quality and the safety, for example. Now, if you don't understand and you try to get into only the scope of a work, now very simple example, you are doing an excavation for a trench. Now, how do you safeguard that particular excavated area? That comes in your project excellence criteria, like, you need to refer to the health and safety criteria and conditions, what is required for it. Now, it may be varying from a different clients and different locations and different geographic conditions. So if you don't understand it, the work what you're about to do, it will get stopped by someone, and then you will have some secondary requirements will be falling in line. And someone may think in a gray area saying that, is it really part of the scope, or we are pulled into a scope creep? So we need to have a very clear idea what this organization like any multinational organization, part of a top 5 brands in the world, they definitely will have very high importance to the sustainability in today's world, for example. Now, if that is not been clearly defined in the project excellence criteria and not been integrated to the scope, we will be having a challenges to take our project moving forward within the budget and within the time what we defined in the beginning. So the scope is actually lying between the vision and the goals of the organization, or the project owners, or the companies, or the institute which we are going to deliver the project. And it is a connecting to the project plans, like the activity, task and resources and the deliverables, what we are decomposing and then creating that into a schedule and the plans and moving forward. So the scope plays a major role, and which is actually integrating to the how to do part of a construction project. So if we don't have a clarity in visions and goals, that is one of the major problem in today's construction industry. When we start the construction programs, we have very limited insight or information into what exactly we are going to develop. There are many times we can see that the buildings are started progressing in a real estate, and all of a sudden, there may be someone maybe taking a decision saying that, okay, let us not do a commercial program, let us do a residential program, or maybe taking a decision, can we go for a hybrid model? So you already designed and created a project in such a way that it is going to be a commercial project. In between, you want to convert that into a residential, or the other way around. Now, the same problem is there with when we don't understand the business goals and the objectives and the performance objectives of a project or a client, and we are trying to start a project in there. So when we get into any construction project, it is very important for us to establish a clear project scope, which is derived out of the business goals and the business objectives and the performance outcome. Now, this got a very, very deep connection, and I can talk about probably another 3 to 4 hours only on this particular topic itself, on how to establish this area. But just to, in a very high level, to connect it, an organization, maybe it's in a one of the top information technology client, or maybe one automobile client is coming to any part of the world. Let's say, example, in India, they're coming and establishing their offices or a factory. What is their business goals? they want to become a top leader in this particular country, or they want to become a top leader in the region itself. So there will be a separate business goals will be there, and which comes with a clear objective. Like we need to support the entire Asia Pacific region in terms of a technology providing. This location is going to be the hub of the data collection. This is going to be the back end of our operations in 1 or 2 or 3 continents. Now that leads to the performance and the expectation as well. Now, if it is a manufacturing, then the real outcomes, what we are looking in terms of an output or a product itself, we can do it. But whereas maybe in a bank or in a IT organization, they may be talking about, okay, we should have zero tolerance to any power shutdown. We should have a 24/7 energy requirement is there. Our server should not be cut off at any point of time. So what is the relation to that? So all these things will directly relate to the project scope. If someone required a 24/7 power and to the internet backup, so instead of probably you have a 2 or 3 power generator to give in a power backup based on a calculation what you required for that particular campus, you may have to go for an n+n requirement, not n+1. So based on the criticality of the business and to the performance which we are expecting from the overall project, we derive the project scope and moving forward. So it is very important for us to have a lot of articulation and documentation of all these business objectives in the front-end planning phase itself. In the beginning of a project, in the early stages of a project, we should have a clear clarity on what are the business needs and opportunities and objectives which we have to fulfill by end of this project. That should serve as a kind of a guiding star in the project, when we are progressing at the various stages of a project. And ultimately, we have to see that the outcome what we are expecting should help us to create the scope formations and the different performance outcomes what we have to be developed in that need to be articulated. And end of the day, this is something should help us to ensure that all the stakeholders in the projects are working with the one goal. So if any procurement is having any difficulty in taking a decision because maybe there may be a certain product or a certain services will have a cost high, but that will have a direct relation to the project objectives, the business objectives, or the performance what we are expecting. We don't have to think twice. We can take a decisions immediately and moving forward, which will save us to maybe the cost may be exceeding, but which may save us to get a better performance in the end of a project. So it is very important for us to ensure that the starting of a project, the front-end planning phase of a project, we have a clear idea about the business goals, the business objectives, and the performance outcome of this particular project, what it is, or by doing this project, what our end customer or the clients are expected to do it, need to be very clearly understand. That should help us to convert into a project scope documents and then moving forward. So what is the advantages of it? We are going to establish a very trusted partners in the system. Many times I've seen the contractors or some of the even the consultants, they are working in a project, will have a very less idea about what are the expectation, what are the outcomes, and what is really going to be happening. So they all just take the instruction from the lead designer or maybe from the someone from managing the project manager to do a particular task, but they have no idea what it is to be defined and moving forward. That will prevent them to perform and to really commit. So when we have this clear objectives and outcome, that will create a trust between the parties to ensure that, yeah, I mean, this is very clear. This is what I need to do. I can do within my limitations, clear clarity on what need to be done and moving forward. That motivates the people, and we can establish a lot of standards in the way which we are doing. And ultimately, we are getting a scope foundation, very clear foundation for developing the scope and the details of a construction project, what need to be established. And ultimately, this helping us to get a good reporting when you have a base, when you have a project objectives, and we have the outcomes and everything, so our reporting will be very easy to do it. So any scope which we can relate to the goals and to the objectives and the outcome, all any changes which is coming or a justification to the cost, everything will be clearly defined and detailed. And last but not the least, when you have very clear project objectives and outcomes defined and connected to the scope, we are more confident to get the funding for what need to be delivered. And many times in a construction project, we have seen that we develop the design, they go to the costing and budgeting, and then for the finance approval, the finance is going to reject it. The fund is not coming, the cost is exceeding, the budget is crossing. We have to go all the way back to do the value engineering and cut the corners and then redo it. So how much time and effort we are going to lose there? So when we have this clarity in the beginning and we are able to connect it and justify it and move forward, the scope what we will be prepared is going to be acting as a guiding star for us to move forward in the right direction, in the right speed what we require to move forward. So this is the importance of having a scope in a construction project. So scope provides us an end-to-end perspective, and if the scope is not clear, that is when we are going to see that it changes throughout the project. You can see that there are many projects which are working in a very, very confused manner. The project starts, then we see that there is a value engineering is stepping in. We are changing the design. Someone will be coming and saying that, hey, can we reduce the glazing outside? So you reduce the glazing, or the cost will be a more less costlier product will be chosen. Then you realize that, okay, because of that, now the air conditioning will be ineffective, so you have to increase the air conditioning capacity. Now what will happen is the air conditioning capacity is increased and in more air conditioning units are required. Now that will have an effect on the transformer and the electrical requirements. So that will have a requirement on the architectural space, because you need to occupy or give a more space for air conditioning and the electrical. So you see that when the scopes are not clearly defined, there will be a sequence of changes which will be happening throughout the project, and there is no end to that. And this ultimately will delay it. Any small change, it will have a cascading effect in a construction project. I've seen one project, in a interior fit out projects, the small element, which is the projector. Now, the project started with an assumption saying that the projector will be put it on the floor and the connection will be taken from the ground. A small change, someone is coming and saying that, oh, can I get the projector from the top, from the ceiling? It look a small change. The scope is not clearly defined, because we thought that this particular room will be used by multiple people, and we don't need a fixed projector in that particular area. But when that assumption goes wrong, the performance of the particular room, which is not really understood by the designers as it is expected from the end customer, there is a change coming. Now this change will have a cascading effect till the end. Even after you complete the project, you will see that a lot of patches in the construction project and the areas. Now what will happen is, when you do any rework, there will be a cost overrun, and there are possibilities and chances where the project also may get failure if the requirements are not correctly matched or identified and stated and then connected to the project, the business needs and the business goals. So it is very important for any construction project to succeed. We should have a clearly defined business goals, objectives, performance outcomes, and that leads to a project scope that gives us a clarity to make a budget and timeline and then work accordingly. Now, this looks simple in a smaller project, but when the project is become large and complicated, the success criteria will be multiple. Not just a one project, like if it's a massive project, there may be a success of the electrical system, the substations and the series of electrical network is very important for even an hotel to function it. So it will have a multiple delivery success criteria need to be defined and connected. If not, what will happen is you will have the hotels ready, but you may not have the electrical supply ready to cater or to contribute for that particular hotel to start functioning it. So it is very important when we are talking about a construction project, especially in today's world, we are talking about a giga project, to have such level of in-depth clarity on what the ultimate goal or aim, what we are to achieve by doing this series of construction activities and the projects what we are into. So there it comes, the very important term, which is the change management. Any scope, what we originally agreed will be part of the contract, but any changes, once the contract is awarded, if any changes related to work when it is coming, either it's removing or adding into the someone's scope is the change order. Now, the change order can happen because of several reasons. It can be because of the additional, or it can be a contracted party seeing some problems and they can request for a change, additional scopes or a additional payment, and there are multiple factors. I'm not getting into depth of everything, but change management is one of the process and a practice which we have to ensure that we are clearly handling all the changes in an effective manner. Now, why I'm saying the effective manner is many organization and construction organization or in a projects having a change management processes are there, but they're taking too much time. There are times the people have to do work without any instruction, without any change order. You're forced to complete the work, and then probably they may do a paperwork, and then maybe a part of the payment might be given to you. And this is kind of a common situation in a many construction project. The main problem, what is coming in a very ineffective way of getting this change management done is because of the two different scenarios. One is the people are not in a position to really differentiate between the scope changes and the scope creep. Now, you have a very clearly established scope defined in the beginning of a project in the front-end planning area or in a pre-construction area. That is when, if any changes comes, you can connect it to the scope statement and to the business requirement and saying that, hey, business requirement is changed or the performance outcome is changed. And now we have the scope is changed and there is a change order, we have to release it. So any change order, when it is coming, a scope, if it is changed, the project will be allowed to replan, the schedule will be adjusted, the budget will be increased, and this will be agreed by all the parties. But what is happening here in today's construction is mostly we fall into the scope creep because our scope statements are not clearly defined. So we are not in a position to agree that, because we're always seeing a fight and we take the contract document and then arguing between the consultant and the clients, or maybe the consultant and the contractor, whether it is in the scope, what is the scope clearly understood or explained to the people. The scope is clearly understood, then what is their relation to the project excellence criteria, what we mentioned earlier. So it's a very gray area in construction project, and the scope creep is going to kind of bringing more changes in the schedule, more delays in a construction, and you see that the budget is exceeding many times anyway. And many of the scope creeps, like I mentioned earlier, it is kind of without approval. How many times we have seen the consultants or a contractor to a subcontractor is coming to the site and looking at saying that, oh, this is not the way it need to be done, you have to change it. Then you look at a drawing, it will be putting a very clearly saying that in the drawing, this is the way you need to do it. No, there is a new requirement from the electrical contractor, so you have to do it in this way. Okay, now give it in writing. Now, this is where the friction comes. Now, consultant cannot give it in writing, the contractor cannot do it without in a writing, so there will be a gray areas will be there. And at end of the day, all the problems are usually being translated or forced to the contractor. And we see that there's a lot of scope creeps are happening in a construction project during the process of what it is getting executed. Now, when a good scope management system is there, the change orders are playing a very good role. The change orders will allow you to manage these changes in a structured way. And if any ineffective management, like I've mentioned earlier, that is going to lead to an increased cost, project delays, and to disputes in a construction project. Now, there is a record, researchers have found out almost 11 to 15% of change. It's common. It's a kind of a common in a construction project. But do you literally happening? From your experience, you can relate it. The changes happening in the constructions are much more than that. Now, where all this money goes? So what will happen is when the projects are not handled properly, this kind of changes are expected in a construction project, the people will take a buffer of that money into the original quotations or in a proposal. So what is happening is, because this particular client or this particular project is expected to go in a chaos, we are going to have a lot of changes in the site. They are not going to pay us. So we have to add that money into our original quote and then try to get a bigger cost. And so your original construction cost itself will be high, and majority of the money is going to get into the drain because of the rework and the changes which are happening in the projects, which is in an unorganized manner. Now, this is where a lot of requirements are coming for a lean methodologies and lean thinking to come into the construction industry in the traditional way. What we are doing need to move away to a structured way of working in. There is an interesting project delivery method which you all are familiar, is the integrated project delivery. Now, the developed countries where the integrated project deliveries and the lean project deliveries are being practiced, they're talking about a KPIs for the project people. Can we do a project with a zero change order? Now, it's very interesting, right? We are talking about a construction in our part of the world. We are struggling and trying to see that happening, a lot of change orders, part of maybe 15-20% of the budget is exceeding and everything. Now we are having an integrated project delivery model where the people are trying to see that, can we minimize the change order? Can we have zero change order is one of the targets that the people are keeping for themselves. Now, how that is possible? It is possible if we really understand the McClimmy curve and then we are working towards it. The very simple curve to understand, when the time progress from the pre-design or a front-end engineering to the construction and to the operations, your cost of design changes is going up. Now, the previous example which I mentioned about the change of a projector, a simple projector, which is going to, they decided to keep in the ceiling instead of the floor. That decision is taken almost in the end of a construction, right? So in the end of the construction, the cost of design changes are very high and you have a very less ability to do that function correctly. So you have to change a lot of, you have to break, you have to put some additional conduiting, additional ducting and additional wiring, and you have to close whatever the existing you provided, which is not useful. So in a similar way, how many such things are happening? So what is the problem? We do the method of a design, bid and build. So what is happening is the designer will talk to the client and then create it. But then after the procurement or after the bidding and the contractor comes, there is the time which we are taking the constructability and the material availability and the practicality to get the material and the integration of different work, everything will be discussed many times. And many times we can see that the vendors of certain products or maybe certain part of the work will be appointed in a very late in the process. We appoint initially the architect, then the structural contractor, then M&E. But by the time we appoint other vendors and suppliers and the trades, it's a lot of time consuming thing. Even if you award the entire project to a one contractor as a single contractor, general contractor, the general contractor method of selecting and then appointing the subcontractors and the sub trades are also similar to what is the design, bid and build, because he will take it to market, he will try to get a different quotations and he will try to go for the lowest one. So what it is required for a construction industry, if you really want to change the way or the game changing plan, what you need to adopt is we have to ensure that the front end planning is given a lot of effort. That means you can see that here, if you are able to bring all your stakeholders, maximum stakeholders in the time of a design, by the time the design completed, if all your stakeholders are there inside, that is not possible in a typical design, bid and build. But if it is an integrated project delivery, or even if it's a design and build project, it may be possible. So that gives us a lot of advantages of cost in terms of time, and then we can move forward in a collaborative manner. So what we require is a true collaboration between the owner, the designer, and the contractor. So this is one model will help us to take the construction to a completely different way how we can approach it. Now imagine you don't have that option, the design, bid, and construction you are working. Still, what you can do is spend some additional time immediately after the bidding is over and the vendor is on board. You invest on collaboration between the owner, designer, and contractor. Not to saying that my job is over, design is done, I'm throwing it over the wall. Now it is in the hands of the contractor. Now it is their headache and then do it. No, we have to bring that level of understanding to ensure that all are on the same page and we are able to get the project done in a more structured way. So this is one beautiful approach which Lean has been promoting for years in all the industries, and now it is in construction as well. So recently when Lean Construction Institute and the Lean concepts are taken into the PMI-SCP certification, a lot of thought process are coming into the project management world for a construction people to beautifully integrate to the current way of working. So one of the thought process here is, can we establish a project organization thinking? So what it mean by project organization thinking? If a designer, a supplier, and the contractor today in a construction, we consider it as a different silos. So once they are inside a project, can they talk all together as one organization working together? What do you mean by that? A contractor working in a site, he got any material, he got a freedom to call the procurement and talk about it. If any challenges, he have the freedom to talk to the engineering in the organization and do it. But this same freedom is not available to talk to the external consultant who part of the same project or a client, because we still keep that bureaucracy and some hierarchy in our project. But whereas in a lean work structuring, what it is making is by contractually, by the process, we are ensuring that any design which is happening is thinking about the constructability of how it is going to be built in line with whether the procurement or the material is available in the market. I can tell several examples of successfully implementing these practices, but within the time limitation and the challenges, I'm just leaving it in a part of it and then moving forward. So when any beginning of a project, you want to do, you want to refer to any specification. You have the procurement of the contractor and the construction manager of the contractor is along with the designer is there. They are in a better position to discuss the challenges and then make a design which can easily procure material from the market and which can easily constructible in the construction project. So this is possible in the early stages. In the IPD project, it's very well we can do it. Or if it is a design bid and build project, we can do it in a wonderful way. So coming to another beautiful concepts which is explained in the this particular course, which is called as a target value delivery during the design. Now this is exactly, I'm replicating what are the lean work structuring, what I mentioned earlier, into the tools. Now the lean work structuring is a concept or a theory, we can say that. How it can be done it in a practical, it's called as a target value delivery during the design. So this is one of the contributions of a lean construction institute into the project PMI-SCP certification. Now there's a traditional way we calculate the cost of any work plus profit is coming as the overall cost of a project or the particular work package, we can say that. Now in a target value delivery, what they are working together is because they all are integrated into one contract as part of the project. They're working as a project organization. The profit is being clearly defined in the beginning by a calculation. The entire price what we agreed, the target value what we agreed, and what are the costs we are going to incur it. Now the beauty here is the designer is also going to get a profit if there is a material is being selected which are less costlier, but the designer is also being responsible for if any delays coming and the project is incurring more cost into the project. So when you have a structured way of defining what is the profit and how this profit can be shared across the project organization, we will be able to do a continuous and proactive value engineering in a structured way here. So the scope will be having a better control here, and the business needs and the value statement can be clearly refined and understood by the people and we can really align the needs of the project in such a way that the design can really meet the procurement and the construction demands in a more proactive and the make-ready way in the construction project. So this is making a unique approach in bringing the all stakeholders in the early stages of a project based on whatever the project delivery model you have it, and ensuring that there is a collaborative discussions are happening between the client consultants and contractor in a structured way here. Now I'm coming to the third part. The first part is the project management body of knowledge, explaining the scope and the change management and depth. Second is the lean, is talking about the approach on the change in our our approach and the methodology what we need to follow it to ensuring that the scope can be clearly defined in the early stages. Now the last but not least is the contribution from the CII, which is talking about a tool which they have developed. The researches and studies showing that the pre-project planning cuts the cost by 20% and schedule by 39%. Now, how do you check it together? It's again a notional, whether the scope is clearly defined. Some people can say that yes, some people can say no. So what the CIA has done is they have brought a tool which is to evaluate the scope definitions in our project. So that means it's nothing but a scope evaluation tool called as the Project Definition Rating Index, PDRI tool. This tool is going to help us to clearly evaluate and see that whether any improvement is required in the way which we are doing and then moving forward. So the PDRI, it's a Microsoft Excel based software. It's a macro tool is enabled. They have various sessions like a project decisions and then the basic of design and execution approach. Now, for example, in a basic of a design, it is talking about the site information available, the basic programming and the building project and designs. So it creates a structured way of looking into the various aspects of a project. And there is a category of a 0 to 5 will be taken on various elements of it. So the ultimate goal is to see that we have to develop a scope which is having higher predictability, which will incur very less deviation in terms of a cost and the schedule in our project. So there is a multiple tool, the one particular tool, but having a multiple sector serving is there. There is tool is being developed for infra, building, mining, small infra, small industrial project, and the industrial project. So what it has been done is in the front-end planning, in the feasibility, concept, and detail scope, there are 3 phase gates what we are talking. So this PDRI should be used at more than once in a different stages. Like for example, we are in the feasibility stage and we are about to start the concept stage. Then we are in an infrastructure project, take the PDRI tool and then run through the people by collecting the information and then see that what is the score is coming and seeing that whether are we really ready to go into that. So when we do that multiple times with this evaluation, by end of the scope detailing, you will have a clear idea seeing that are we really capable of moving to the next level or not. So in a PDRI matrix, in an industrial project, for example, there is a traditional assessment, the accuracy related matters will be there, and the front-end planning maturity is can be evaluated. So there are different elements will be clearly defined below it. It's a bit difficult for you to imagine, but just for an example, if you're having a future expansion alteration consideration is there. So the elements in the questionnaire or in the Excel, which will be like, do you have a provision for a site space in a possible future expansion or not? Future building occupants in a 5, 10, 15, 20 years, do you have the information or not? So when you have this kind of a questionnaires, and you will be rating in terms of, yes, it's well-defined, then its a score is 1, or if it is a poorly defined, then the score is 5. Now, if you have a scores, like, there are many, like 70 elements in the traditional way, then the accuracy related in the 27 elements, the feed maturity in 46 elements. So if you're having all the scores are given and the scores are getting added, you're going to get a PDRI score. Now, this PDRI score, as per the CII experience and the research and the various projects which they are benchmarked, if the PDRI score is found to be less than 200, then the possibility of the project to be completed will be just 5% below the budget. Schedule can be completed 13% behind the schedule. So if it is greater than 200, then it will be different. So you will have a cost of a 25 and above will be there. So if your change orders will be 10% of the budget. So these are the potential, the possibilities of such things can happen in your project. So this, everything, the scope, the scope management and the change order management also can be further advanced and ensured that we are following a right technology in the way. You know, today's world is about the technology, and we can also use a good technology and integrate it to all the areas. Like the way the PDRI tool, what we are used to evaluate, there are much more things what we can do with the technology, which will help us to increase the documentation, the transparency, the easy accessibility, we can ensure it, and the systems, you know, any technology will help us to have a notification. And ultimately, this is going to help us in ensuring that we are having a good control on the scope itself. Few tools, which, you know, very detailed mentioned in the course are the BIM, the building information modeling, the drones, the virtual reality, the data analysis. Now, you know that the virtual reality, for example, you have in a better position to get a clarification on the scope and the functionality using the virtual reality. Now you can integrate that with the BIM. The BIM will help us to minimize the clashes and then get a clear quantity outcome, and then seeing that, you know, the 3Ds and the information can be really put and hands-on. You can integrate to the drones and then use it. The drones can be used for quantifying the real-time data. So using the integrated way of adopting this technology into the current way of practicing the scope management is going to be clearly seeing that we are able to match, or we are going to get a better projects in that. So the use of using the technologies, another one is using the real-time information and collaborations, and then communications and knowledge transfer, and then enhance the project monitoring. So it's a very detailed manner which covered the entire need of a scope management and change management in this particular course. And I have very just taken only 45 to 50 minutes to just summarize it, but to see that you can also relate to that, your way of getting the scope management and the change management, adopting the lean methodologies and the concepts, and using the tools which the CI has been developed, and adopting that integrated technology into the scope management is going to help us to see that how beautifully we are able to manage the scope and change management in the construction project if we are able to bring all this into a reality. Now, first and most, what we need to do is to upskill the people and to develop a deeper understanding about all what we are talking, and the role of bringing these management concepts and tools into the people practice for getting a better benefit out of it. So I just want to conclude with one statement, which is from the brand. It's talking about the goals are the fuel in the furnace of achievement. Now, we all are struggling saying that, we have to achieve the project on time, we have to deliver the project, we have to meet the client requirement, we have to make it satisfy. And we see that in construction project today, a lot of struggles and a lot of challenges to deliver the project in time. Now, what is lacking? The statement is very clear. Goals are the fuel. Now, if we don't have the scope clearly defined, or if the scopes are wrongly defined, we have a wrong fuel in the furnace. And that is what is preventing us to deliver the construction project in the way what is expected and required by our client and to the end customers. So let us get a right way of getting the scope and the change management. I believe that the change management is not really required if you really do the scope management. Like I mentioned earlier, there are now people are keeping their own targets to see that can we do the project without a scope change. And I believe that that can be a dream for all the construction projects across the globe if we are able to bring this lean project management practices in the beginning, in the front end planning, as suggested by the PMI, the LCI and the CII in a structured and systematic way. And that is where we can see that we are going to really make a game changer in the construction project. So with that note, thank you very much. And this is my LinkedIn profile. And over to you, Johnson, sir, for question and answers and then sharing other information with the participants.
Thank you very much, Tony, for taking an insight and giving us a better understanding of how scope and change management is essential in executing any project. And that gives us a better clarification and understanding of how the scope changes, sometimes inevitable, but how it can be managed well so that the project can be delivered on time. Well, it's time for taking a few questions. You can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself and raise the question so we can get the clarification responses from Tony before we go to the closing part of this session. While doing that, it is good if
Sesha, do you have any question to Sesha also? Like, you can always ask. I think
right.
Sesha is also here. Right?
If you can just open your camera, we'd like to take a quick group photo. I know we have 55 in the room right now. It may be late night in some parts, but if you could just turn your camera on, we will take it will take only a few seconds.
Yeah, just brush up and then.
Excellent. Great job, Tony and Sesha.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. We are in different time zones and no, it's fine. I mean, someone have a camera, fine. Please switch it on and then.
All right. That's okay. We got few.
Maybe take another minute for everyone.
Yeah. All right. They're probably busy writing your notes and all right. No problem. Yeah. It's okay. I got few. So we're going to go with the first screen. Thank you. We have one more. So continue smiling and we'll take the rest. All right. Okay. We're done with that. And
Yes.
I'm not seeing any hands yet for the questions.
I would like to say, I thought that was fantastic. I love the 5 mantras. They were, as Mario said, simple and so effective. So thank you for that. And it was nice to meet you, Sesha. Tony, I'm a big fan of the work that you do. I thought it was a great explanation of the importance of the scope, right? It's so worth it to put so much time and attention to that part of the project. So very nicely done, sir. I will be copying a lot of what you just presented to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'll be showing the QR code at the end, so you can always stay connected with us. So before we go further, I'd like to invite the VP Education of the PMI Kerala chapter, Cynthia ma'am, to share any announcements and also to explain our upcoming events in specific to the ENC forum. Cynthia, it's all yours.
Thank you, sir. Hi all. So a wonderful session, and I know we are running late, so I'll not keep it long. So we have got ourselves a WhatsApp forum for the ENC members who are attending our webinar. Few of you who have attended us earlier would already be part of that particular WhatsApp group. So I think Johnson said this is not the QR code. If you're not having it, I'll be putting the link in this particular chat, as well as we will be sharing it over mail if you're registered for this webinar. So you can express the interest and we can have you added to the WhatsApp group. How it would help you is like all these webinars, all the upcoming webinars, you'll get a notification of it and you'll not miss it out. And with respect to the offerings from the chapter, as our speakers have been mentioning, yeah, you can see the WhatsApp QR code out there on the slide, so you can scan it. So this is a survey link wherein you can express your interest to join our WhatsApp group, as well as your interest to attend the upcoming courses we are planning. So we have the PMI-CP certification preparatory course, which we are planning for. It would be an end-to-end training and support for those of you who are targeting to be certified. And if you are a person who have completed your e-learning and need a kind of a hand-holding, we have that as well. So that is the second one listed out there, PMI-CP exam preparation support. So based on your needs, we would request you to express it in the survey link. If you have attended the survey, answered it as part of our previous session, you can skip it. We will be reaching out once we are ready with the schedule to announce these courses. So we'll be pulling out your interest to join the WhatsApp group, and I have you added to that group as well. Okay. So with that, I'll just hand it over back to Johnson, sir. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Cynthia, for sharing the plan and also how to stay connected with the PMI Kerala chapter. And I know you've been always waiting for this one, as the credential holders do need this one. So take a screenshot, take your phone, take a screenshot so that you can capture your credit for being part of this event. While doing that, I would like to take this moment to thank you all for joining from various locations. And we'll be announcing about the upcoming webinar through the WhatsApp group and emails. And also you can check in the PMI Kerala LinkedIn and the WhatsApp groups. And I'd like to wish you all a happy weekend in wherever locations you are. Enjoy your weekend and stay connected with the PMI Kerala chapter. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sesha. Thank you, everyone, for this.
Thank you.